Hi, this video is on how to use H5P content in your Moodle class. And what that is exactly the same thing as using something like Edpuzzle, which allows you to have students watch an interactive video and answer questions at the same time. I'll show you what I mean. This is one that I've made already. I'm going to show you how to walk through and make one, and it's a video on how to install a CPU. I've got this one set up, so as soon as they click on the video, it will go in and start the video for them.
So let's start then from the very beginning.
Now I'm going to pause that. I just want to show a couple things. Number one, this is a longer video than what the students have to watch. As a matter of fact, I've started it far into the video already. So students that come to this, you can use any video. In particular, I use YouTube videos. And you can trim it to the size and place that you want. So you can see that this is already starting at the 1 minute and 15 or 1 minute 15 seconds into the video, and it actually ends 5 minutes in where I've got this one set up to do. So it doesn't have to start at the beginning of the video. You can start wherever you want it to. And then as the students watch the video, first of all, you can see they can't drag and go forward. They can
It's a good
only
place to start.
play.
What do you install the CPU into?
I'm going to pause his voice so you can't hear him. But the one thing they can do is they can always pause and they can rewind a little bit. So every time they hit this, they rewind 10 seconds. So if they miss something that was said during the video, they can always hit that button and rewind. Now, as students are watching this, they have to watch the video to get to the spots, and any place you see a little zero down here is where they're going to get a question, and you can see as I hover over it, it's going to be a fill in the blank question on those. This one is going to be a single choice. This one is a note that I have popping up on the video, and this one down here is a true or false question, and I'll show you how to add those different kinds of questions. I'll show you what it looks like the way I have it set up. By the way, it always opens as large as it can for the video that they're watching in particular. And if I shrink down my browser, it automatically shrinks the video to whatever size will fit on the student screen. Now, as he comes up to this first spot playing, the video will stop and it will ask the student a question. In this case, I put a fill in the blank question in there. He had just explained what LGA stands for, and I want to know whether the students were paying attention. Now, if I put the wrong thing in, it will tell the student when they hit check how much of it they got wrong. It shows that they got 2 out of 3 of the words right. And I have it set up when they hit continue, it doesn't continue. It rewinds back to the spot where he explained what LGA was. So when he hits continue, it goes back again to the point where he explains what LGA is again. So the students will then watch the video until it gets to the point that it explains it, and it will stop again to give them an opportunity to answer the question correctly. So this time, if the student paid attention and types in the right answer and they hit check, now it will tell them, hey, you got all 3 or 4 of them right, hit continue, and then the video will continue from there. So I've got a number of different questions embedded in this video. The students have to watch it, and when they're done, it automatically goes into the gradebook. Okay, let me first point out that if you want to do H5P content, you have to have at least finished the initial Moodle training and be a level 1 teacher. If you're not a level 1 teacher, then you won't be, or above, you won't be able to see the content. So if I go to add an activity and go to activities, I should see this interactive content. So this is what it looks like. The first thing is I'm going to put the description up top of what the assignment is. So I've just put, please watch this video on CPUs and answer the questions during the video. Now there's a whole bunch of different kind of interactive content. This lesson is just about how to add interactive video. So I click on interactive video, and then the first thing I'm going to do is title the video and add the video to the class. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. And then it goes add a video. So I'm going to hit the plus button. And the easiest way is just to enter the address of the YouTube video that you want to use. So this is my video that I'm using, and you can see it's 14 minutes and 31 seconds long. They're not going to watch the whole thing, but all I need is this address up top here. I'm going to copy that with Control C, and then I'm going to go down here and just add the video right there and hit Insert. Now there's a couple other things that I'm going to do right here when I set up the video, and that's before I go to the add interactions, I'm going to say how I want the video to play. My behavioral setting is one of the important things that I am going to do. This video in particular has a bunch of ads at the beginning, or maybe you've got an hour and a half long movie and you just want to watch a part of it. You can say, where is it going to start at? So I'm going to say it's going to start at a minute and well, it's already there. A minute and 12 seconds into the video is where I want this one to start. I want to skip the ads and go right in. You can say whether you want it to auto start. I did set this one to auto start. You do not have to. I don't use loop, and I don't really do any of these other ones except for I do show the button to rewind 10 seconds. And I also prevent skipping forward. So students have to watch the video, and if they miss something, they can hit the rewind and go back 10 seconds. I always allow those things in my students' videos. The other things is I do display the action bar at the bottom, and I don't display a copyright button. So I'm done with that. So now I can go to add interactions. So once I go to add interactions, I'm going to see the video, and I'm going to be able to drag these things up top right down into the video anywhere I want to. I'll go ahead and start with the easiest. We'll go down here with the single choice set. So basically all I do is I drag that onto the image. Now, by default, it says it wants it to be a button. I, by default, don't like that one. I do it as a poster, and you'll see what the difference is. On a button, they see a little finger that goes there. On a poster, it pops the whole question up over top of the video. They have to answer it. So I would always recommend using the poster. And you'll see what it looks like here in a second. So if you want to title your question, only you can see that. You can put that on there if you want to. And here's the question. And I'll go ahead and put a question in there. It says, on the alternatives, the first alternative is the correct choice. And it only shows 2 right now, but I can add as many as I want to on here. So I'll go ahead and type in a question. Okay, so I've added a question. It says, when installing the CPU, you should make sure the CPU is on the approved processor list. Make sure, put a period there. Make sure the CPU is the same socket. This will ensure it will work. That's false. Make sure the CPU is older than the motherboard so the chipset will be compatible. That's also false. Okay, so that's my only question. You can add other questions. I'm going to remove the other one. I just want one. And then I'm going to skip this. I'm going to go down here to behavior settings. And what do I want it to do on the question itself? And how do I want it to be adaptive? I'm not going to auto continue. I'm going to say action if wrong. And he just went over this. And we're at the 514 section. So I'm going to say if wrong, go to 445. And that's it. So if they get it right, it will continue. If they get it wrong, it will seat back to that time. And I'm going to say you have to get the right score before you can proceed. Now, when I hit done on this, it shows it on how it's going to look on the screen. And this is what I meant by a poster. I can then resize it, put it where I want it. I'm going to make it full width of the screen, and I'm going to put it right down here at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to pause and look just like that. I could put it even smaller, and you can see it'll even allow it to be read to the students. And then that's it for this one. So I can go ahead and hit continue, and basically it'll look like this until they answer the question, and then this will go away. And on the question itself, at any time, you can see I can come back here and I can go to the question and I can edit. If I was like, that's not the behavior I wanted, I can go back and change it however I wanted. And that's the poster. Well, I've logged in as a student here, and if they go to this Linus Tech Tips, how to install a CPU, in this case, I made it not auto start. And so they have to hit play on their own. But when they do, it immediately popped forward to the point I wanted to start on the video, and I just changed it so that you could fast forward. So this particular one could fast forward right past the question, and that's what being able to fast forward allows, and that's why I never allow that. And in this case, it came up to the question. If I got the question wrong, you can see it highlighted what the right answer was, but when I hit next, it's going to go backwards. It's going to rewatch that section again, and then when they come up to the question, hopefully they remember what it was since it just showed them the right or wrong answer, and you can change that so it doesn't. It should say make sure it's on the approved processor list. Yay, we got it right, and then it will continue, and that's what that looks like from that one question that we just added. Okay, so the next kind of question is this multiple choice question. Same thing, I just drag it down to where I want it to be on the video, and then it pops up. Again, I pick poster. I don't have to label it. And then I type what the question is here, and then I give the options. And you can see here now, instead of the first one being correct, I have to check to see which ones are correct on this question. So I typed a question here that says, which of these are CPU sockets? LGA is correct, so I mark correct. PGA is correct. And then I added two more, NGA and LAP. And I'm going to go down again and set the settings for it. Behavior settings for it. I don't enable retry. I don't enable the show solution answers. Yes, I randomize it. Yes, I require an answer. And adaptability on the wrong answer, I always go back. So if I did this one, it shows where it started at 218. I'm going to go back to 200 on the video, and I'm going to say done. And then it shows it on here. I resize it for the way I want it to look on the video itself. It's probably good enough right there. And I can center it up if I want to, or have it off to the side so they can read or look at the pictures as it's going through there. And we'll take a look and see what that one looks like then. So when my student gets to this point in the video, it stops and it pops up and says, which of these are CPU sockets? If they say a wrong answer and check, it lets them know what the problem was. And then I go forward and it rewinds back to where I said at the 2-minute point so that it's going to play through and explain what the sockets are again before it gets to that question. And this time they pick the right answers, LGA and PGA. Yay! 2 out of 2 are correct. And then it continues on. So that's that kind of question. I should point out that at any time you want to add more questions or take questions away, you can just go back into it and re-edit it, which is what I'm doing as I'm adding each one of these. I'm going back into it and just going to add interactions, and I can take them out or put them in at any time. So I've done the first two, the multiple choice. True and false is the same way. I go to a spot on the video that I want to have a true or false question, and I just drag this down there. Again, I use the poster size, and I just add a true or false question saying what the correct answer is. So I'm going to say this is one that they're going to say false on. And I've said PGA is the socket type for most current desktop CPUs. That's false. And then I look again at behavioral settings. Do I want them to allow to retry or not? It's only a true false, so I take that away. I don't show the solution. And I'm automatically then going to do the same thing. On a wrong answer, I'm going to go back. I prefer to do that to make them find the right answer to the question. And I'm going to make them go back a long way since this was covered a long time ago and require a full score before proceeding. Again, it pops up. I'm going to resize it so they can read the whole answer, and I put it right over the middle, and that's what it's going to look like on this one. So in this case, they're 6 minutes into the video, or 5 minutes into the video when they get this one, and ask PGA socket is the type currently used. If they say true, it's going to wind them all the way back to the 2-minute spot, and they're going to go through all this again because that's what the whole video is about, is on how LGA sockets are the most current and they're the ones everybody uses now. And if they don't get that one right, they weren't paying attention at all. So it's taken them all the way back. That one was kind of a punishment, I guess, for not paying attention. They have to go through all the questions again because they should have already known that it's LGA and PGA. They should know all these answers. By the time they get to that one, it's kind of a final check on that one. So it's kind of making them go backwards. So let's look at the next kind of question. Okay, fill in the blank is a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and drag a fill in the blank down. Oops, I got to get it to where I want it to be. There we go. So I'm going to do this fill in the blank question. This one, again, I'm going to use poster. This one looks a little different. It's basically a sentence that you put stars around the words that they're going to type in, and then it checks for those words. So my question is, the biggest CPU manufacturer is, and it'll be a blank where they have to type the word Intel, and the smallest is AMD. And it says right up here how to do that. Blanks are added with the asterisk in front and the end of each word. So now I'm going to go down here and look at the behavior. Again, I'm going to undo the retry, show. I am going to undo case sensitive, but you can make it case sensitive if you want it to. By default, it is. I know that Intel should be capitalized and AMD is an acronym, it should be capitalized, but that's not what I'm testing right now, and I don't want to make them go back because they got that one wrong. Require all fields be answered before the solution can be viewed, yes, and then adaptability, require full score before proceeding, and if they're wrong, they're going to rewind again, where it's just a sentence with two boxes that they type in, and then you hit check. Yes, they do have to spell it correctly, but I'm not having it check case on this. So that's what that one looks like. Let's go ahead and go to the next kind. I'm going to go and add a drag the words question in here now. And that one looks, if I make sure I'm getting the right one, I am. If I do a drag the word, it's just like the fill in the blank, except for it gives them the options for the word. So I'm going to do poster again, and I'm going to use the same words. Okay, so I've made a sentence, and any of the words that are going to be draggable or surrounded by the asterisk. So it says the LGA socket is the current CPU socket used by all manufacturers because it protects the CPU since it's generally more expensive than the motherboard. So it pops up just like this, drag the words into the boxes. The blank socket is the current CPUs. And by the way, it makes all the blanks the same size so that you don't know which one goes where by just looking at the size of the label. So I think that's great. So that's what it looks like. You hit check, they got them all right, and they continue on. And that's the drag the word option in a video. I do have to point out that students have to get to a point where they can submit their score, and you set that. So how do you add that spot where they're done? And I'll show you how to do that. So that spot is right here, this little line that you see here, and I can go to anywhere on my video and say, you know what, that's where I want them to submit it. So I've got it right here. And that's what this little star does. It says, hey, do you want to add a submit screen? There's always one at the end, and I added one at 10:37. I can also add it one at 10:34. I can say add submit screen at 10:34, and now you see another line. And that's where, as they're watching the video, they know that, boom, I'm done. I can submit my answers, get my grade, and then it automatically goes into the Moodle gradebook. Along with the Moodle gradebook, after I'm done down here, I can go to say how much it's worth. It's worth 10 points, and I'm going to add it in the Chapter 5 class grade in my grade sheet.